The silence of space was broken by the slow, steady hum of the human ship as it moved closer to the alien queen's homeworld. This was no ordinary place. It was a vast planet covered in shining towers and strange forests, ruled by the alien queen who had heard many stories about the humans. These stories had traveled far, through many star systems, and they spoke of humans as warriors, survivors. And sometimes even as legends. Captain Jason Carter stood on the deck of the ship looking out at the world below. His crew moved around him, tense but ready. They had traveled many light years to reach this place. Humans were rare here, and not many believed the stories about them. Some thought humans were weak. Others thought they were too strange to be a threat or a help. But Jason knew the truth. Humans were strong in ways no one expected. The ship slowly landed on a wide platform near the Queen's palace. Strange lights blinked in the distance, and the air felt heavy with power. Jason took a deep breath and prepared to meet the alien queen herself. This was the moment when stories would meet reality. Inside the palace, the alien queen, known as Valara, sat on her throne. Her skin was a deep shade of blue, and her eyes shone with wisdom and power. She had ruled her people for many years, and she had heard many legends about humans. Some said humans could fight like no other species. Some said humans had strange luck and never gave up. Valara was curious, but cautious. What kind of humans would come to her world? Her advisors stood around her, whispering nervously. They did not trust humans. They had seen what humans had done in other star systems, sometimes peaceful, sometimes violent. Now this human ship came without warning. Valara raised her hand for silence. "Bring the captain before me," she ordered quietly. Jason was led through the palace halls, surrounded by tall alien guards. The walls glowed softly with ancient symbols. He tried to keep his calm, though his heart beat faster. When he finally stood before the queen, he bowed respectfully. Valara looked at him carefully. "So the stories were true," she whispered, her voice soft but strong. "You are the human of legend." Jason looked up, surprised by her words. "I am Captain Jason Carter of Earth," he said. "We come in peace and seek your help." Valara studied him. "Help or conquest?" she asked quietly. "Help," Jason replied. "Our worlds face a threat that could destroy us all. We need allies." The queen looked around her court. Some advisors frowned, others whispered fears of humans being too dangerous. But Valara raised her hand again. "We will listen. Tell us of this threat." Jason spoke of a dark force moving across the galaxy, destroying planets and systems without mercy. Many alien races had already fallen. Earth and her allies were the last hope to stop this danger. Valara listened carefully. The room was silent except for his voice. After he finished, Valara stood slowly. "Humans have a strange reputation," she said. "Your strength is said to come not just from weapons, but from your will to survive and protect. I will hear more. But trust must be earned." "Understand," Jason said. The queen then invited Jason and his crew to stay in her palace. Strange creatures brought food and gifts, some friendly, some wary. Jason noticed that even though the queen's court was tense, some aliens watched humans with quiet respect. That night, Jason looked out from his room at the alien cities shining below. He thought about the stories he had heard growing up about humans being special. Now he was part of those stories, meeting the queen who whispered his name with awe. The next morning, Valara called Jason to a private room. She wanted to know more about humans, their history, their battles, their courage. Jason spoke simply but proudly about Earth, about wars survived, about humans never giving up even when the odds were against them. Vala listened, and slowly she began to believe the stories were not just myths. Humans were real legends. But she also knew there would be tests to prove humans were worthy of trust and friendship. Outside the palace, some aliens prepared quietly. The queen's enemies did not want humans as friends. They saw humans as wild and dangerous. A plan was forming to trap the humans and use their power for evil. Jason and his crew were unaware of the danger close by. For now, the alien queen whispered softly, so the stories were true. You are the human of legend. After the first meeting with Queen Valara, Captain Jason Carter and his crew knew they had to prove themselves. The queen was curious but cautious, and many in her court doubted humans. To earn trust, the humans had to show their strength, their mind, and their courage. Vala declared a challenge. It was an old test used for new allies, a series of trials meant to measure skill, wisdom, and bravery. Jason accepted without hesitation. His crew stood behind him, ready to face whatever came next. The first trial was in the wild forests near the palace. The forest was alive with strange sounds and unseen dangers. The humans had to find a rare flower called the Moon's Heart, hidden deep inside a maze of trees and dangerous creatures. Many alien warriors had failed this task. Jason and his team moved carefully but fast. They used their senses and tools. They worked together, watching each other's backs. Suddenly, a huge beast appeared. It was covered in thick scales and had sharp claws. The beast growled loudly, blocking their way. Without panic, Jason remembered stories from Earth about facing danger. He gave orders calmly. One crew member distracted the beast, while others searched for a way around. Finally, they found the flower glowing softly under a tree. Jason picked it up and held it high. When they returned to the palace, Valara's court was surprised. The humans had succeeded where others failed. Some advisors nodded with respect, but others still doubted. This was only the first trial, the queen said. There is more to come. The second trial tested their minds. The humans were taken to an ancient hall filled with puzzles and strange machines. The goal was to unlock the door to the next chamber by solving riddles that had confused alien scholars for centuries. Jason's crew gathered around the machines. They examined symbols and shapes, trying different combinations. After hours of work, one crew member noticed a pattern in the alien language, similar to Earth's old codes. Slowly, they solved each riddle and opened the door. The queen watched quietly. Humans are clever, she said softly to her advisors. Their minds are sharp, and they do not give up. But not all in the court were pleased. Some saw the humans as threats, not allies. A group of enemies in the shadows whispered plans to trap the humans and take their power. They believed humans were too wild and would bring chaos. While the humans rested, Valara asked Jason about their battles. He told stories of Earth's wars, of people fighting to protect their homes and families, spoke about how humans could be fierce but also kind, and how hope kept them alive. The queen was moved. She whispered again, so the stories were true, but the peace did not last. One night, as the humans slept, alien spies tried to capture them. They wanted to bring the humans to a rival faction to use them as weapons. The humans woke quickly to the attack. Jason and his crew fought. With skill and teamwork, though outnumbered, they used the palace's strange corridors and their knowledge of tactics to escape the trap. One alien guard who believed in the humans helped them by opening secret doors. The next day, Valara stood before her court, furious about the betrayal. Those who plotted against my guests will face justice, she declared. She thanked the humans for their bravery and loyalty. This event changed many minds. The humans were no longer seen as strangers or threats. They were allies who had risked their lives. The queen's trust in Jason and his crew grew stronger. The queen then announced a meeting of her strongest warriors and human crew. She said a greater danger approaches. We must unite if we want to survive. The humans prepared for what was to come. They shared their technology and knowledge with Valara's forces. The aliens began to see humans in a new light as legends not only in stories but in truth, as Part 2 ended. The queen whispered again to herself, the human of legend is here. Together, we will face the darkness. The days passed and tension grew in the queen's court. The rival factions, jealous and fearful of the new human-alien alliance, prepared for war. Queen Valara and Captain Jason Carter worked together closely. They knew the coming battle would test not just their strength, but their unity. Jason studied the alien technology and shared human strategies. His crew trained alongside Valara's warriors, blending Earth tactics with alien skill. The humans showed patience and care, earning respect from many aliens who once doubted them. But not everyone welcomed this. Some in the Queen's Council whispered that humans were too wild and might bring disaster. Valara heard their fears, but trusted Jason's honor and the courage she had seen one evening. The Queen invited Jason to a quiet garden beneath the stars. "Humans have a saying," she said softly, "that legends are born in fire. I see that now." Jason smiled, feeling the weight of the moment. Suddenly, alarms rang through the palace. Scouts had spotted enemy warships moving fast toward the planet. The war had begun. The sky darkened as fleets of ships clashed in space. Jason took command alongside Valara's admirals. The humans used clever maneuvers, surprising their enemies. Their slow ships turned fast in battle. Their weapons struck with deadly precision. On the ground, Valara's warriors fought fiercely, protecting the palace and cities. Humans joined battles, showing bravery and skill. They helped heal the wounded and kept the spirit of hope alive. The battle was long and hard. At one point, a giant enemy beast broke through the defenses and threatened the palace. Jason led a small team to stop it. As using teamwork and quick thinking, they trapped the beast and forced it to retreat. As the fight went on, many lives were lost on both sides. Jason felt the pain of each loss, but knew they had to keep fighting for their future. Queen Valara watched from her tower, her heart full of pride and worry. "These humans," she whispered, "are not just legends. They are my people now." Finally, the enemy fleet began to weaken. The combined force of humans and aliens pushed them back. Valara sent a message across the galaxy. The Queen's world would not fall. After the battle, Jason and Valara met again. "This victory is only the start," Jason said. "The galaxy is bigger and darker than we know." Valara nodded. "With you, human, I believe we can face anything." The Queen made a new promise to her people and to the humans. "We will stand together, and our legend will grow." As peace returned, Jason thought about how far they had come from strangers. Two allies, from stories to reality. The legend of humans had truly begun. The victory had brought peace, but it was fragile. Queen Valara and Captain Jason Carter knew that the true test was still ahead. Enemies who had been defeated were planning their return. Whispers of new dangers spread through the stars. The Queen called a great council. Leaders from many alien worlds and the human crew gathered in the palace. The room was filled with hope and worry. Jason stood beside Valara, ready to speak. "Our victory showed what we can do when we unite," Jason said. "But the galaxy is still full of threats. We must be ready." Some leaders nodded, others looked uncertain. They had seen wars that never ended. Valara raised her hand for silence. "We must build stronger ties, share knowledge, and prepare for the future." The humans and aliens began training together more deeply. New ships were built, combining human designs and alien technology. The crew learned each other's languages and customs, growing closer every day. Jason and his team explored ancient ruins on the planet. They searched for secrets that could help protect their alliance. One day, they found strange symbols and devices that hinted at lost powers. The discovery excited Valara and her scientists, but the peace was broken when a dangerous enemy appeared. A warlord named Karnax, who had once been a powerful general, gathered forces to attack the Queen's world again. He believed that humans were a threat to his rule and wanted to crush the alliance. Karnax's ships darkened the skies as they approached. The Queen's fleet prepared for battle once more. Jason and Valara stood together, determined to protect their home and their people. The battle began with fierce clashes in space and on the planet's surface. Karnax's forces were strong and ruthless, but the humans and aliens fought with heart and skill. They used the ancient secrets found in the ruins to gain an advantage. During the fighting, Jason led a daring mission deep into enemy territory. His team worked quietly to sabotage Karnax's main ship. It was dangerous, and many moments felt like they might be caught. But their courage and teamwork won the day. The Queen's forces pushed back Karnex's fleet. The warlord was captured, and peace returned again. Valara honored Jason and his crew, calling them heroes not only of her world but of the galaxy. In a quiet moment after the battle, Valara and Jason stood looking at the stars. "You have changed my world," she said softly. "The stories of humans will live forever." Jason smiled, knowing their journey was far from over. New legends were just beginning. The victory over Karnax brought a moment of calm, but the galaxy was still full of danger. Queen Valara and Captain Jason Carter knew this peace would not last forever. New threats were growing in the dark corners of space. Watching, waiting. The Queen called for a great celebration to honor the humans and aliens who fought bravely. The palace filled with music, colors, and laughter. Jason and his crew stood proudly, but their minds were focused on the future. During the celebration, Valara spoke to Jason quietly. "Our alliance is strong, but we must prepare. The galaxy will test us again." Jason nodded. He had learned that legends were not just about victory, but about facing challenges without fear. He promised to stand with the Queen and her people no matter what came next. Soon, strange signals appeared from a distant star system. Scouts reported that a dark fleet unlike any before was moving closer. Their ships were huge and silent, and their intentions unknown. Valara and Jason studied the threat. This fleet was powerful, with weapons that could destroy entire planets. It was clear they wanted to conquer the galaxy. The Queen and Captain began planning their defense. Humans and aliens worked together to build new ships and train new warriors. They shared their knowledge freely, knowing that their survival depended on unity. As the Dark Fleet approached, the Queen gave a speech to her people and allies. "We face the greatest danger yet," she said. "But together, we are stronger than any enemy. We will protect our homes, our families, and our future." The battle that followed was unlike any before. The sky burned with fire and light as ships clashed. The humans used their clever tactics, moving quickly and striking hard. Aliens used their powerful technology and bravery. Jason led a group on a mission to destroy the enemy's command ship. The journey was full of danger, with traps and attacks at every turn, but the team's courage and skill pushed them forward. When they finally reached the command ship, Jason faced the enemy leader in a fierce battle. It was a fight of strength and will. With quick thinking and determination, Jason won and destroyed. The ship's control center, the enemy fleet, lost its power and retreated. The Queen's world and allies were safe once more. But the cost was high. Many lives were lost, and the people mourned their fallen heroes. In the quiet after the war, Valara visited Jason. "You have become more than a legend," she said softly. "You are family." Jason smiled, feeling the weight of their journey. "We fight not for glory, but for those we love," he replied. The alliance between humans and aliens grew stronger. Together, they began to rebuild and prepare for whatever challenges the galaxy might bring. The legend of humans was no longer just stories whispered in fear and awe. It was real, alive, and shining bright across the stars. Peace had returned to Queen Valara's world. Both she and Captain Jason Carter knew the galaxy would never be truly quiet. Threats could rise again, new enemies could appear. Yet something had changed. The humans and aliens were no longer strangers or enemies. They were allies, friends, and something more, a family. The Queen stood on the balcony of her palace, looking at the stars. Beside her, Jason watched the bright lights twinkle. "Our journey has been long," Valara said softly, "and the stories of humans will shine forever." Jason smiled. "We have faced darkness and fear, but we never gave up. That is what makes us human." The alliance grew stronger. Humans shared their knowledge of technology, medicine, and strategy. Aliens shared their wisdom, culture, and powerful machines. Together, they built new ships that were faster, stronger, and smarter than any before. But the galaxy was full of mystery. New worlds were explored, and new friends were found. The Queen and Jason led missions to help those in need and stop dangers before they could grow. One day, a message arrived from the far reaches of space. An unknown threat was moving closer, and it was unlike anything they had seen. A dark cloud of ships that seemed to drain energy from stars themselves. Valara and Jason prepared again. The humans and aliens trained harder, worked closer. The legend of humans was now a beacon of hope across the galaxy. As the dark threat approached, the Queen whispered to Jason, "Our story is not over. It is only beginning." The final battle was fierce. Ships moved like shadows, weapons blazed across the sky, and heroes rose on both sides. Jason fought bravely, leading his team with heart and skill. In the end, the dark threat was defeated, but the cost was great. Many worlds were scarred, and many lives lost. Yet hope survived, shining brighter than ever. Queen Valara declared a new era, one where humans and aliens stood side by side, protecting the galaxy together. The human of legend had become more than a story. It was a symbol of courage, trust, and unity. As peace settled again, Jason looked to the stars. "We will face whatever comes next," he said, "because we face it together." The Queen smiled, her eyes full of hope. And so the legend continues.